Welcome to Fine Art and Friends, where I interview creatives in Austin, Texas to talk about their creative process, trials, tribulations that they face, obstacles, and how they overcome them. It changes every time. Today, we have Andre Gary on the show to give you a quick introduction about Andre. He is one of my longtime friends. He's like a brother to me. We both grew up skating, Vanilla, Counterfeit, all of the teams. I've known this man for about like 15 to 18 years. It's just all a blur. So he's also a breakdancer in the local Austin breakdance community. I would say he's a staple in the community. And this man is cold at everything he does. So welcome, Dre. Thank you for being on the show.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all for having me and glad to be a part of this podcast and to join your new venture. And I'm here to share all the experiences with my brother Demps.
Hey, yes, sir. I appreciate it. You see what I'm saying? You see what he just knows.
Hey, man. It's all about support. It's all about supporting the community at the end of the day.
See, and that's what we're going to talk about, because you are a very big community person. What drew you to movement? Like within skating, within b-boying, movement is involved. I'm just curious, what drew you to movement? Was there anything before the breakdancing and the skating? What led you to that?
Yeah, no, for sure. I was one of those kids that at every little school function, for y'all younger kids, school functions is like school dances. So back then we had school dances and we would be there. We'd just be all the hype. I was one of those kids that knew like every party dance. So all the whole chicken wing and all that other stuff. I was that kid that knew everything.
You was that dude.
Yeah, I was that guy. Out trying to outshine everybody at the dance, trying to do all that. So at a young age, I was, hey, listen, boy.
I'm just imagining you ain't got nothing.
Man, what? Boy, I was at every function trying to outdance everybody. And it got me far. I'd like to say I was popularly unpopular, if that makes sense. I was a part of the popular kids, but I wasn't. I didn't quite fit in, but I did enough to fit in. Do what y'all will. What? So as a young kid, I was always drawn to movement because I was always like a hip hop dancer at the beginning. I started out doing like all the hip hop dances. I started popping around middle school. Then towards the end of my high school year, when I started getting into I did like a bunch of other stuff. I love sports, but I wanted to like expand and try new things. And that's when I found, at first I got into cheerleading, which is crazy, but I did it to learn flips because at the time we had a flip coach that would teach us how to do like backflips, somersaults, cartwheels, and do other stuff. And then towards the mid section of our semester, two of my, who are now my OGs, came in for an after-school program to teach breakdancing.
Oh, okay.
And then that's where I fell into that. So once they got there, I kind of like fell into that after-school program, and they kind of like took me under their wing because I was one of those kids that, again, I did all the dances, so learning was a little bit easier for me, so I could pick up things a lot quicker. So everything that they were throwing down, I was kind of like picking it up like that.
That makes sense.
So I took that with me all the way through college, where I went to UT for about 2 years, and then I went to ACC for about 2 years. And all through that time, I kept in contact with those guys that kept me breaking up until that point. Yeah. And then after college is just where I started getting more into breakdancing. I took choreo for a little while to learn more dances because, again, I love to kind of like expand my horizon and expand my knowledge of dance. Yeah. So I did like damn near everything. And then in the midst of that, I kind of stumbled into skating. Like towards the end of high school, mid-college, I found skating. I think I was about 21, 22-ish around the time.
So so far we have a kid who is very passionate about dance, doing the most that he can to pursue dancing, whether that be, just going to the school dances, showing up language, showing kids up at school. Man, it's gonna be crazy.
Hey,
showing
honestly,
kids up at school.
I don't blame you.
And then being involved in other activities that led you to meeting cheer coach that is a flipping coach, and you can learn from that, and then participating in those activities, and then being taken under someone's wing. And then all of these things led to the build of all of the skills that you have today. Yeah. And then you say you got into skating.
Yeah, man.
What was that like?
Geez, falling into skating was interesting because at first the main rink I went to was the one up north, which was quote unquote the bougie rink. At the time, during the week, it would be a bingo hall, and then on the weekends, it would be a skating rink. So on the weekends, my parents would drop me off like midway through the weekend and drop me off at the skating rink. And I was one of those kids that would just kind of like fumble around, try to race people, fall all over the place. And then I had started kind of like migrating because my practices would migrate. So I was like, okay, I wonder if there's another skating ring around here. I found the Millennium over on East Austin, and that's where I ran into my guy, Daryl Demps.
Oh yeah,
And
I was out there just like Dre was at Playland every weekend. I was at the Millennium every weekend, just trying to get better.
Just rolling. We was just outside rolling, man.
Yeah, I found one OG that taught me some crazy legs.
Man,
and just, you know, he taught me how to crazy leg and grapevine, and I thought, I was like,
hey, man, at the time, now listen, if you could grapevine, crazy leg, you could spin, let alone even try to like do a little 2-foot spin. He was top tier.
Wait a second, I'm thinking about it. You said you started skating when you were 21?
About 18 was about like my youngest start.
Yeah.
And then about 21 is when we started to link up at the Millennium and Playland.
Because I feel like I was 13, Dre, and I don't feel like you 8 years older than me.
I was, yeah, it was close to there because
Okay.
like I think we met when I was younger.
Okay.
But we started getting like, oh wait, no, we formed a crew when around my 21st, closer to it.
Dre, how old are you right now?
Hey, at this point, I'm dusty. No, I'm 30.
Never mind. You ain't got to expose that. Never mind.
Yeah.
You ain't got to expose that if you don't want to.
Y'all see that?
Know. Do it again. 33.
Yes, sir.
I'm 29. That math ain't mathing.
I know.
You had to have been 18.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like
yeah.
when we met, I was 18.
Yeah.
And then 19, I kind of like had to stepping away, went to breaking. 20, I came back. Yeah, because 20, I came back. Because remember, at 20 is when Brandon came.
That was 2009. There's a 2009 video online. Brandon Perea versus the whole rink. It was that's not what it was.
Well, it was about.
That's not what it was, but that's basically what the video.
It was
is.
about 8 or 9.
Oh my God, we're going way too fast. We got to talk about what type of skating we do. People think we just disco skaters.
They just think we out here like motherfucking Bow Wow.
Yeah.
Language, sorry, but
you can. It's okay.
Yeah,
I'll have like the little explicit little. Or
that little bar.
I'll be honest with you, Dre. I don't know if I'm gonna bleep out every cuss word. So
boy, it's as much as we gonna have to talk. Yeah.
So the type of skating that we do, you want to talk about? I guess I'll talk about.
Yeah,
it.
I'll let you.
I'll let you talk about how you got specifically into jam skating. The type of skating that we do is called jam skating. It's basically categorized as breakdancing on roller skates. That's the easiest way we can put it. There's also gymnastics. There's a hip hop element, but it's mainly, I would say, influenced by what b-boy culture is, and it's inside of a skating thing. So.
Yeah,
that's what we started doing.
Yeah, so with like having a breakdancing background and finding out what jam skating was is kind of what like kept me in the skating world, is because taking two worlds that I've already fallen in and kind of like mashing them together is kind of like what intrigued my mind. It's like, damn, I did not know I can like breakdance on roller skates. That's nuts. Already blew my mind. And then all it was just like learning about the balance for me to kind of like ease into it and kind of like start growing and building myself in that jam skating community. People had breakdancing backgrounds like me, so of course for other people it's like really hard, but for like the majority of it, from what I knew in breakdancing, I was helping these guys kind of like elevate their game. It's like so in jam skating there's things called power moves. So in breakdancing, I was like a big power mover. gotta be a little strong. Gotta be a little bit strong. But you can build strength through technique. I always preach that nowadays. But I was always teaching these guys like different power moves I would be learning at breakdancing practice, whether it be like windmills, flares, try to do handstands and stuff like that. And we incorporated that just to kind of like give us a bigger goal to reach for, as far as like expanding what jam skating was. Because at the time it was just crazy legs, spins, and what else? Breaking.
Breaking. Yeah, that's kind of what we were exposed to until we found out about like the bigger network of jam skating. I think when we found out more about the competitions, there used to be a website, jamskatingonline.com, and it was just crazy videos. Like you would never, the amount of creativity that people came up with just on 8 wheels was just amazing.
Yeah, and it always made you think like, dang, there's really no limit to the creativity of jam skating because it's so open, right? It's not really like
there's no box.
There's no box to like fit it in it because it can ever expand. And jam skating's always been like that, which is dope because now you have kids like pushing the horizons and stuff like that. But like when we first started, again, we started out with like 3-4 moves, and we thought we was cold stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Like when we first started off, I'm curious, what did it look like? Because you have a competitive nature. You've shown that through, since you were a kid. It's within you. It makes sense that you have this nature within jam skating and breakdancing. But can you talk about what it was like growing up, having that moment where your world has expanded and you realize, oh, there's companies that are sponsoring people to do this. Oh, there's competitions where I can like actually compete. And then like even the levels within the competitions, jam skating has battles, 1v1s, me versus him rounds, I go, he go, that's a round. 2 rounds usually was like the limit. Yep. They have team battles. They have other type of competitions too. They have like performances. So like, I'm just curious when you had that moment of, wow, this is bigger than I thought. The world is bigger.
Yep.
What did you feel? Did you want to get sponsored? Did you want to compete against people? Did you want to travel? Like what was going through your head?
At first, I didn't really think about the sponsors because I didn't quite understand what that was nor what that looked like at the time. At the time, I just saw like other skaters, and then I saw them starting off with battles, and me being a b-boy, my initial thought was like, oh, there's battles. Okay, cool. I got to train and get better and better. So there would... Man, the weekends I would be at the rink. I know Playland is probably tired of seeing my face, but now I'm behind the counter. Ha! But I'd be at Playland night in and night out just to train, to get ready to travel to like find these battles. And we would be on Jam Skating Online watching other people get better and get better and get better and try new things and reach new heights. And watching that, like, coming up, we would watch that and be like, okay, that's cool, but I know I could beat that. Yeah. And especially me. I probably rubbed off on them a little bit too much because my competitiveness was on overdrive at the start. I won't say I was fiending, but I was itching.
Hungry.
I was itching to try to like get in those battles. And then I think, that first battle we went to, we was in, I think it was Louisville, Kentucky, and it was me, Kenny, and Jake, and we went to a battle called Bring the Ruckus, and this is where I found a lot of the guys I'm currently skating with now, and my competitiveness was on overdrive, so I was literally trying everything, and I think that was the first competition that I successfully like got pretty far in. Up until I got to the OGs, and then
that's when it changes.
OGs reign supreme. It's different in person. Just saying that. So when you go to battles, don't think it's like, they ain't nothing. I seen all that online. It's different. It's different. But that drive pushed me far to where I got pretty far in the competition, just by being hungry, right? So again, as a young jam skater coming up, my competitiveness was on like overdrive, watching all these guys get better, watching these guys skate night in and night out, and you would go on Jam Skating Online just to see if they posted a new video, just to see, okay, he's working on that, so I need to do this. If I want to beat them, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, you know so you're like studying as you practice and as you get better, and you're trying to understand. There's definitely like a technique. What's the word? Not a technique.
More of a
strategy. There's a strategy to the battles. based on what these people are doing. You know, he's like, oh, this person got some footwork. Okay, I could get him there. You know,
Yeah.
I see his limitations. I could get him there. Okay,
Exactly.
floor work. Okay, he ain't gonna be ready for this power combo.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
it's just like it's gonna sound crazy, but it's finding ways to exploit weaknesses, right? Like
yeah.
if you see someone's like really good at like doing windmills, head spins and stuff like that, but they are hardly standing up in skating and using their wheels, you can attack them there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like this dude's like we call them power heads. All they do is like roll, do head spins, spin on their hands and stuff like that, and that's all they got. Cool. That's cool and all, but I know I got footwork. I can do floor work, which is doing all the crazy leg work on the floor. And my legs are just doing this, that, and whatever. And then I could also do power, but that's not going to be my main focus to beat you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I was like,
I would call you a technique skater for sure. Like a technical. You were very technical. Like you have all the aspects. You have the footwork, floor work, and the power. It's crazy because you could be a power head if you wanted to, but the fact that you were so dedicated to your technique,
dedication to
the all around,
being an all around skater, and yeah, like you said, because it's like some people take their strong suits and they run with it, right?
Yeah.
And then that kind of like defines them. Like, one of our buddies, Elijah, is like he does like a lot of floor work and he does like a lot of threads. So when you see him, you know him for like doing a lot of threads.
What's a thread?
A thread
Just
is
for the
like
people
where you create a circle and one body part is going through it. So technically, this is a thread, right? So you're creating a circle with your body parts, and then you're kind of like either flowing through it or you're flowing in and out of that circle, right?
Yeah.
So, and then one of our other friends, Garrett, he's this tiny little dude.
Garrett don't make no sense.
Yeah.
It's a cheat code.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, I'm like,
Garrett
how are you moving like that?
Garrett was one of the youngest power heads we've ever seen that literally had every technique of power you could think of. So think of like all the best B-boys and B-girls you see around the world kind of like flying through the air and just rolling on the floor and just creating this pattern that looks insane. That was him. So there's people that are like designated to certain things. So I didn't want to be categorized like that. So I took it upon myself to kind of break out of that, in which I'd done all the footwork, all the floor work, all the power. Had to learn about style late. Had to learn about musicality late. So yeah, tying all that in made me into the skater I am today.
And did tying all of that into your skating, did that affect your breakdancing as well?
Very much so, yeah.
Like, were you also competing in breakdancing in your off season of the jam skating?
Yeah, so I would travel with the team to go watch them for like the first 2 years. I would go watch them compete in battles.
And you didn't compete? You were just...
Nah, at the time I was kind of like shy and kind of like standoffish because I was like, man, these it's nice. Like they were like top of the top tier B-boys and B-girls that would be in Texas. So I was like, in jam skating, I kind of felt better because like bringing my breaking into the skate world kind of like gave me a little bit more of an edge.
Yeah.
Because I knew a little bit more, so I could like add more to my arsenal outside of what jam skating kind of like had me at. I had my jam skating moves, and then I also had my breaking moves that I could put with the jam skating. But my jam skating helped me with my breaking because having those weights on your feet makes a hell of a difference when you take them off.
Yo.
Think about 5-pound weights. You trying to move your body weight with 5-pound weights and just, yeah, it's a world of a difference when you take the skates off versus having them on. So learning to control your body as you're moving around with skates on translates to a whole different monster when you take them off.
Yeah, I agree, and I see it. It's like you're driven by this desire to be. It sounds like to be the best, honestly. Like to be the best. You're competitive. You want to learn all the things you can learn. You know, breakdancing. I'm learning breakdance. I'm learning under these people. Okay, I'm gonna take it to skating. Then you're in skating. You're like, okay, I learned what musicality is. I learned what style is. Okay, I'm gonna take those concepts, put it back into my breakdancing. And as you build, you're going to these competitions. You're becoming more known. You're meeting new people. You're creating a new network. You're joining a community. Let's talk about the the sponsorship era.
Yeah, so the whole sponsorship era, man, that was interesting. At the time when I started like going to these competitions, I started getting more known, like he said, started battling more, started getting my face into these circles to where people started to recognize me, recognize the skill, and they started recognizing me as like a formidable skater, to say the least. So with that, my first sponsor was a company called New Jam Skates. Sorry.
I was trying so hard. Why you do that? Why you do that to me? Man, you could have just let it.
Anywho.
What you gonna do when you see the video?
Hey man, shout out to New Jam Skates. But yeah, that was a cool company that kind of like gave us our first look at what sponsorship was. Shout out to them for sure. And then the next company that kind of like helped me build my name up and my brand was Skate Mob. Skate Mob was Bruce Leggett and a couple of other people that kind of like created this team. Anyway, yeah, shout out to Skate Mob. And then
we're just gonna breeze on past.
Yeah, so shout out to them. But then the bigger ones started coming around. So around like the 2013, 2014 is when it started looking like. And myself, Daryl, our buddy Paco, and Jake were getting looked at by the bigger sponsors. So in skating, there's two main companies that are floating around, Rydell and Vanilla. Those are the two main manufacturers of like roller skating. And at the time, they were looking to build teams. Yeah. So at that time, the company Vanilla had picked up my boy Dimps, my buddy Jake, and my buddy Paco and put them on the team because they were creating what they called a flow team. And at the other time, I was on the other side of that coin where I got picked up by a crew called Counterfeit Clothing, which is ran by one of my all-time best sponsors to this day, outside of who I'm about to get into next. Shout out to David Smith. And then Counterfeit Clothing got picked up by Rydell, which is the second biggest, in my opinion, roller skating brand that kind of like also developed a team where they helped us create what's known as Counterfeit Street Team. So we got put on this. Oh man, yeah, this led to arguably the biggest battle jam skating has seen to date. There was about how many y'all? It was like 12 or.
It was a
12,
pretty,
about 15.
It was a pretty big. So what's going on to paint this picture for those of you following? It's two major sponsorships, two companies, and both of us are on opposing sides. Me and Dre have been skating together for years. He gets sponsored by Counterfeit Clothing, which is sponsored by Rydell. I get put on the Vanilla Flow team, which is sponsored by Vanilla. So the street team and the Flow team, they're like the bottom tiers of the sponsorships of the teams. There's Flow, there was AM, and then there was Pro. Yep. And then there was Street, and then there was just
Street and Pro.
For
Rydell.
And it was so much beef, and it was like, Flow, like, oh, we're better than you. No, we're better than you. We got these type of skaters. We got these type of skaters.
There was so much animosity when you found out who was on the Flow team versus the Street team, and that one of the biggest competitions that that followed year round. It's called Summer Jam. And we met up there, and that's where we had our Flow versus Street team battle, which is where like all of our street team members that got put on that were a part of Counterfeit Clothing had to go meet these guys in the middle, and we had to like throw down for like that felt like 15, 20 minutes. It felt
like 30 minutes. It
was like I was there for a while. That was a long battle, yo. We was in there sweating.
Yeah, if you don't have swamp ass, you ain't working.
That is a fact,
That's facts. If you don't got swamp ass,
you ain't got swamp ass,
you ain't working.
You can't call yourself no damn skater. Language. But anywho,
let them know,
man. You ain't skating enough. But anywho, yeah, that is arguably one of the longest and also one of the best jam skating battles that has every aspect of jam skating you can think of, as far as like the animosity, the amount of skating that was done, the amount of routines that was done, the amount of teamwork that was built, and the amount of just back and forth between the two companies, because it was just so much into that battle to where everybody was just like on edge, and I feel like that brought out the best in everybody.
Yeah,
it's like, again, we had just got put on. We didn't know what sponsoring was until they like put us on the team.
Yeah,
they got new skates, we got new skates, they got a little bit of merch, we got a little bit of merch. Oh yeah, we better than y'all. We take y'all in these circles.
Especially when the two teams, they get the same type of stuff, but on the other side, it's okay, well my shit's better, you know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna prove it to you in the circle.
Look, I'm gonna show you in the circle.
It's crazy because that year specifically was also something I felt like that changed jam skating, the course of jam skating forever. Because it was there were performances, but it was very battle heavy. You know, like most people, they would look at the performances, but everybody watched the battles. You know,
everybody was there to watch them battles.
That year, our sponsor Vanilla was the one who was throwing the Summer Jam event. Mm-hmm. We got flown out a week early for practice. Within the practice, we weren't worried about the battle, more so because we were trying to change how performances were being seen. Mm-hmm. We wanted to change it from what is usually like a 2-minute to 3-minute structure, where you're doing your jam skater thing. Other skate communities will just call it middle work. Mm-hmm. So you're just doing middle work, and then like you'll go and you'll have a shuffle, and it's all point based. But basically, it's like there's a lot of different things that goes into a performance. Mm-hmm. Vanilla was trying to change that a little bit. They were like, "Yo, let's not do 2 minutes. Let's just do a 90 seconds. Let's make it more choreo based."
Yeah,
and that I feel like that year changed a lot because the battles went crazy, the performances changed completely.
Yeah, and I feel like with those performances, with the way that Vanilla had you guys out there working on the performances, definitely changed how y'all looked at jam skating just as much as we did too. Because we were already battle heavy, but we also came out there like maybe the day after y'all did, and we also had a house like next to y'all's, so we would get there to the rink. Y'all would be working on y'all 90-second. We would have like a splash of time, maybe like 20 minutes to kind of like showcase what we had, and then we'd go off and we'd just be practicing for like the rest of the time. I know y'all were like heavily dedicated to those performances
because our thing was our contract was on the line for us. It was literally like, hey, you're on this team. We're going to fly you out. We're going to put you on this 4-story house on a lake for a week while you practice and take you to practice, and you got to practice.
And you better practice.
And if your 90-second routine suck, you kicked off. That's what it was for us.
Yeah.
So that's why we was like, okay.
I remember sitting in that circle and watching everybody go.
Sweat.
Oh, man. Everybody was sweating bullets. I know our boy Paco.
Paco got next so fast.
Shout out my boy Paco.
Paco crazy with it though.
Like, listen,
Paco was ahead of his time. If you go back and look at those videos, Paco shit is crazy.
Shout out to my boy Francisco Martinez.
Not the legal name.
Yeah, but listen, they gotta know who this motherfucker is. This motherfucker was nice, man. I'm trying to tell you. But listen, shout out to Paco. But them cuts on them 90 seconds was yikes. Yeah. They had everyone in a circle while they let the person who was coming next to kind of shine light on their performance and kind of like get a chance to like execute it in front of the sponsors and the team. And if they didn't like what they saw in like the first 10 seconds, next. They cut the music. Next.
Can I go again? Next. Next.
That's it. That's it. All right. Next
person.
Dang.
Get back in line.
Music. Mm-hmm. Nope. Next. Jesus Christ. Yeah, man.
That's what we was going through for a whole week before everyone showed up and went through that collectively. We was going through it, bro. And it was
we had a week.
It was a
week of terror.
It was a hard week for us. We'll call it that.
For y'all, that shit was a week of terror. And then leading up after that, we had started like training more. We went back home, started like collectively getting better and collectively learning new things, learning things about like performances, learning more things about jam skating. And then at the time, Rydell had kind of went in like a different direction. After that battle, I feel like they didn't kind of like, I feel like they liked how the battles went, but I don't think they liked all the
baggage that came with the battle.
The after effects. So we didn't technically get dropped by Rydell, but Rydell wasn't kind of like looking to help us out anymore. Understandable. But then at the time, that following year, I got picked up by Vanilla. And then that's where I got to join the team with my boy Dimps and my boy Paco and Jake. And ever since then, I've been on Vanilla, been still repping Vanilla ever since. And it's been dope. It's been dope. Again, Vanilla definitely one of the better sponsors that I've been a part of as far as like what they do for the skaters, how they help the skaters like rep their brand, showing face at all the events that we pop up at, and just being there for the community too.
So as someone who has gone through so many tiers of sponsorship, what would you say for the people out there, or maybe the skaters or the kids or whoever is curious, what does it mean to be sponsored? How can you sum that up? This is prep for our video later.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely gonna be good because as far as like reaching that sponsorship is like finally reaching that point in like your career where you're feeling like a superstar, right? You're feeling like that movie star that just stepped on set. It's like, yeah, it's me. I did it. It's like you're aiming for that goal, and getting to that sponsorship is like that second to last notch that helps you elevate your game. Because like I know for me, when I finally got sponsored by Manila, it felt like, wow, I gotta be that dude for them to look at me like that, right? It's like that means my training's paid off, all the work I put in is paid off, all the skating I've done is paid off. If they look at me as someone that they would put on their team to represent their brand, right? So for me, it just felt like being a movie star. It's like, yeah, like I'm now that dude, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel as far as like for me and what the sponsorship helped me feel like. But it also came from, again, days at the rink, just pulling all-nighters, being there, just busting tail, trying to like learn new things, learn more things about jam skating, learn more things in dance, learn more things about what it is to be a jam skater in a sense, right? So that's how I felt.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. How did you feel when you got the sponsor call?
I was confused.
What we said?
Me? Honestly, I was confused. And
Word.
I was yeah, man. I remember. Damn, that's such a loaded question for me, man. It's because I wasn't skating to try to get sponsored. But like when I first started skating, I started skating because I loved it. You know, I enjoyed going to the rink every day. Then I found out there's movements you can do. I was like, okay, I want to learn these movements. You know, I'm 11 at the rink trying to learn. And I met you when I was 14. So then I found out about jam skating. I saw Tony and Jeff doing flares and windmills and pikes. And I was just like,
OG.
yeah, I was like, y'all got to teach. I was like, y'all got to teach me. You know, as a little kid running up to me, y'all got to teach me. They're like, oh, you got to go to the rink up north.
Yeah.
And I was Playland. And then I was like, okay. And that's when we started, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, they told me to be here. I'm here to learn. Then I struggled. And then they started skating in San Antonio. And then I was like, okay, he gets it.
I caught on a little bit.
I was like, hey, bro, I need your help.
I was like, I got you. I got you for whatever I got. I got you.
Yeah. And I was skating every day. I was skating with y'all on the weekends. I would go home and practice in my garage every day. And I just fell in love with like the creativity of making something new. I fell in love with that process. I fell in love with showing it to my friends. They'd be like, oh my God, never. And then we would lab and we would make some new stuff up together. It was like it was a beautiful, it was a fun experience to have. So it was like, then I found out about the sponsorships. Yeah. Then I found out, you know, Brandon Perea. I was like, damn, Brandon is my age. Yeah. And he's crazy. So then I was like, I could be crazy, you know? And I just wanted to see all the people who were sponsored. I saw them in videos. They had great representation of the brand. And I was like, man, I want to be a part of this. It just felt so cool that I wanted to be a part of it. So I gave it my all, probably until about 2012. At that summer jam, went crazy, got to the finals of the 2v2s as like a person who was like not really even known, you know, so that was crazy for me. And then got into the pro 1v1s, which I lost first round. I went against Oscar, but you know, that is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, but when you know who Oscar is, you understand why.
And then got in the musicality battle. lost to Hayden. So it's like I beat somebody, lose to Hayden. I'm like meeting the people that I was watching videos of, like for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like starstruck almost, and then being like, okay, well I gotta turn that off.
Yeah.
So we battling now, you know, and then learning my lessons.
Yeah, and it's like learning them lessons in those battles too, because it's like you watch these guys online, you're like, dang, I got him first round. Are you low key starstruck? Because you always see them in like videos, and they look good on videos. It's like, dang, bro,
he right in front of me.
He's right there. It's like, damn,
10 feet away.
He's right there, and he's skating at me.
Yeah, okay.
Jeez, bro, relax.
Then you look
I
around,
need an autograph.
See if your homies behind you.
Man,
you
boy, you better make sure all your homies behind you.
Bro, for the support.
If not, you trying to skate with no claps. Woo, man, you ain't hear not a sound when you skated. Yikes.
So for me, the 2012 Summer Jam was like my last attempt of like, because for me, I was like, how do I get sponsored? I was like, okay, I have to be known, I have to be good, you know? So I started making videos. I started posting videos of all of our diverse effects skate sessions. I was filming and recording, one, to showcase what we do, to showcase that we're out here, we're doing it, but two, also to document it. I wanted to be able to look back and be like, yo, I've been doing this, you know?
Yeah, we've been doing this forever.
And yeah, 2012 was like my last time. It was my last attempt because I was going to college in 2013. So in my mind, I was kind of like, I want to be sponsored. I want to live this lifestyle, but I want to be realistic.
At the same time, you're trying to focus, trying to lock in at school.
So it was like I'm either going to start working more and focus on transitioning into college, or I'm going to just start skating, you know? And at the time, the working more and transitioning into college is what came true for me, right? Mm-hmm. So I basically had quit skating for like 6 months, and nobody really knew, because after a guy who posts every single week, and then you know he's always active, he's at every competition, and he shows up, he shows out, he gets far. Then nothing. I didn't tell nobody. I just went and did my thing. Yeah. Then I get a call one day. Hey, Daryl, we're thinking about expanding the vanilla team, the flow. Would you like to be on the team? I said, absolutely.
All real. Boy didn't hesitate. Well said. Me.
I called Dre. Dre was sponsored by Counterfeit Clothing at that time, and then I was like, "Hey man, I just got put on vanilla."
Oh man, I got the call. I was like, "Yo, son, that's dope." Yeah. But damn, we on the other side.
We on the other side, yeah, because we were competing together at that point. Mm-hmm. You know, actually no, I got put on, and then we
tried to compete more together.
Yeah, we did. But we'll get into. So I was confused because I was like, do I deserve it? I had like imposter syndrome because I was like, I haven't been training for 6 months. Do I deserve it? I mean, the legacy speaks for itself, I guess. But like, I was kind of a little confused. But Dre was a real one. This man got me a pair of skates. Through LeMay, through a whole
through
event.
An event ran in Texas. It was like I had won the event, and I was like, I'm already getting skates, and at the time I was skating on Rydell's, so I couldn't really like hold vanillas. Yeah. So I was like, damn, who needs skates? And I thought about Daryl because he was still in school, and when I got the call, I was like, oh shit, bet Daryl needs skates, and so they had sent me a care package of skates. They sent me like a pair of juniors and maybe like 4 sets of wheels. Yeah. I was like, you know what? And luckily enough, his birthday was coming around too. So when I got back, I had like told my boy, I was like, yo, I got you a pair of skates. I got you these wheels. These yours. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, man, this for you, bro. It's like, you gonna keep skating now, right? And he's like,
yeah, I'm on the team.
Yeah, bro. I'm on team now. I gotta skate.
So I trained for that competition, competed in that mug. I feel like that was like the best practice to get back into the practice. Yeah. So I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, man. And hey, listen, I was like, I knew he still wanted to skate, and I knew this was something that we were working for the longest. So it only felt right for me to like help him on that journey to get back. It's like, I know at the time he was so focused on, he was like dialed in on school, and he was just like in his studies and into work. So what better way to like help him get back to skating than to just give him a pair of skates? It's like,
and I think that's partially, you know, community, you know, like the people that you have been building with are the people that's going to support you in doing the thing that you were doing. And Jerry, I looked at the clock, bro, and we are pretty much out of time. I believe we have goofed off a bit.
Hey man,
So
they
I'm
caught
gonna
a
have
good
to.
gist.
I'm gonna have to have you back for part 2 probably next week.
Part 2 coming
And
soon.
we'll get more into community, what it means to go from someone who has grown up in community to someone who's now teaching, and we'll get more into what that looks like on that one. But now you're getting the story of what led up to it.
Man, yeah, and this is a story including like both of us, because now both in the teaching circuit, we're now offering lessons. So on part 2, we'll get more into depth on that and how that's been helping our scene here in Austin.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to plug to the people, maybe about upcoming workshops, any classes you teach? Just let them know something real quick on the end, and we'll end this.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow Daryl at Ghost of Daryl, or I am Daryl D. You can follow me at Instagram at bboyjustdre_SC. Shout out to Vanilla. Shout out to KK. Shout out my crew KEF. Yeah, we'll see y'all on part 2.
Yeah, just because. Shout out Diverse Effect. Shout out Texas Toast. Shout out Ice Skate Entertainment. Just because, you know, all of the signs that we had to learn how to. All of the things.
If we had to name that whole list, we'd be here for a minute.
All right, well, cool, my man. Thank you for being here, and I'm gonna have to catch you next time.
Thank y'all for having me. We'll see you on part 2.
Yeah.